Yes, it's a tricky finish on the Vuelta today, as if it's ever anything else, and getting to it might not be entirely straightforward. 209 kilometres setting out from Estepona. The bulk of that will offer no shelter from the sun as the race heads across country. Then it'll change and offer no shelter from the wind as the route hits the coast and turns for home. The final 4 kilometres are a mixture of climbing, descending, twists and turns, which should thin things out for a select group to contest the stage win.
11.4 kilometres remaining, and Tinkoff Saxo are about to bring the race all back together again. For the time being, two lone riders continue to suffer up front. The Europcar rider Jimmy Engelvin, and it is but no longer, as the yellow train, working to the instruction of the man in green, Peter Sagan, their captain, their protected leader of the day, sweeps past them. It's been fairly routine today, very flat. The sting is entirely in the tail today. The biggest incident of the day actually came for BMC's TJ Van Garderen, who came to grief on an innocuous-looking little left-hand turn where the race came very close to some spectators, and he just managed to clip something and went down, bringing a couple of other riders down with him. And he had a little job to do getting back on, and was paced back on, having lost a minute to the peloton, but he is back there safely.
Tinkoff Saxo are doing a great ride here. I mean, they've been on the front for almost 100 kilometres, and yet still they've got enough guys here to do this lead out. And they'll start doing what we see now, the peel-offs. It's whether this guy gets back into the train. No, he's not. He's just gone so deep that he can't actually, he's not even going to try and go back in there because he knows he won't be able to back up the effort. So this is what happens. See, the other guy just peels off. This is what happens now. That goes to show how hard they're going. They can't sustain the effort. They just go, and they're tired because they've been riding for so long. The two guys now that will be there will go a bit longer because they've been protected. So those two guys that just peeled off before, they've been riding for so long. They just did their last final punch, and you can see the back of the peloton where it's stringing out so much. It's a false illusion here at the front where it's all grouped together. That's because there's so many guys positioning behind. It's much more stretched out and more indicative of the speed it's going.
Still got men to burn then, Tinkoff Saxo. I think Sergio Paulinho is one of those riders at the front working for Sagan, and they're still there in number. Did an awful lot of work yesterday, and then Peter Sagan found himself curiously alone with a few kilometres to go as Giant Alpecin took over. But a man like Sagan, he read yesterday's stage finish so well, didn't he? A combination of brains and brawn that got him that yesterday. Yeah, he did. I mean, that was... because he didn't panic, he'd run out, he'd used up his whole team in position in making sure the race was together for the sprint, had no lead out left, and so used his guile to basically infiltrate the Giant Alpecin lead out train and then just pumped them all. 6 kilometres to go then, and the race is on, because in 2 kilometres time, which is slightly less than 2 kilometres time, they peel off this big main road and go up the climb, and they will go right-handed and straight into one of the steepest sections. So the battle is on to be very well positioned on that narrow road and the start of the ascent, because if you're right at the back, you ain't going to win. This is perfect for Peter Sagan. Tinkoff have timed it perfectly today. So if they didn't have a lead out yesterday, they're doing it perfectly today. They've only got a K.5 to the bottom of this climb, and Peter Sagan's still got 3 riders left. Now here comes Sky coming through, so is that G doing his kind of... Geraint Thomas is on the front of the Sky train, and I don't know who the second rider is, but Chris Froome is the third rider in their line, or the second rider now. So Chris Froome is there. So it's less than a K now to the bottom. So just under 5 kilometres now, just under 1 kilometre until they leave this big wide road, turn right and start to climb. Sky are interested, or at least keeping Chris Froome safe and well positioned on this climb. They don't want little gaps to appear. And the other teams now who are thinking about winning this stage are moving to the front. Tinkoff Saxo, who've dominated proceedings up till now, have melted away a little bit in this effort as other teams come to the fore. I think that might be Giant Alpecin. Yeah, it is. See, they've done their classic. They just waited until the last minute and punched through, so they profited on everybody else. Got Dumoulin there in 3rd position. So if John Degenkolb's there, it'll be out to Tom Dumoulin to control the pace and keep it together. Unless John Degenkolb's already called that he's not doing it today, in which case it's Tom Dumoulin's opportunity to go for it himself. Here they go then, 4 kilometres, and they are climbing. They will climb for the next 2 kilometres, sometimes steeply, sometimes... It's Fran Ventoso, I think. Ventoso doing a little bit of work there. There is rider from Lotto Soudal trying to follow, and Giant Alpecin just marking their move as well as they continue up this climb. The big favourites, though, with Peter Sagan behind, are just biding their time for the time being, trying to figure out when the big moves are and what they need to mark and what they've done.
Degenkolb, that's Degenkolb in second position. So Degenkolb does have the legs today, so this is the best place for him to be.
Well, he's got extremely early, hasn't he?
No, it's not. If he just stays at the front now, it's perfect. You're best to be there, because look, the worst case in a climb like this is if you're stuck on the wheels or people are attacking. So John Degenkolb, although he's just there on the road, he's at the front, now he's in the best position. That's him second on the road still, against the barriers. Sagan controlling, he's got no teammates. So this is what I mean. Sagan and Degenkolb, they're riding a defensive race, and now Sagan just blocks the road there perfectly at the Caja Rural. And so now this is good. They're kind of halfway up the climb. Degenkolb suffering a bit. So maybe he was covering for Dumoulin if he's not feeling that good. Well, it looks like he's going backwards now.
Dumoulin, of course, finished second on the Caminito del Rey stage and climbed exceptionally. He climbed much better than that. There's Tosh van der Sande there, the Lotto Soudal rider who's taken a flyer off the front. That is indeed Tosh van der Sande. He's on his own on the front, but Dumoulin is a fascinating character. He climbed so well on stage 2, and he is just 5 seconds off the race.
Look at this. This is Sagan controlling it on his own at the front. He's just kind of keeping a safe space, and there's the Caja Rural rider that's gone. I'm not sure who it is, but we can see how steep it is. I mean, it is very hard. So Sagan is just sitting there, monitoring everything. We've got a Katusha rider now, kind of setting the pace. Valverde's present at the front. We can see, there's Chavez is present. Joaquim Rodriguez has his teammate controlling. So we've got all the key players at the front in perfect position. And that also is an indication of just how hard it is. When you have all those GC riders right at the sharp end like that, it goes to show us the cream of the crop. There's very little domestiques left. In fact, Orica Green Edge have none left. Movistar only have one.
Well, we saw Nairo Quintana then and Alejandro Valverde side by side with Joaquim Rodriguez in between them. As the effort here is beginning to tell for our lone Caja Rural.
And Sagan's still in 8th position, so this is the perfect situation for him. So now I think what Katusha are just doing, they're just controlling it, because now what's going to have to happen here, because it's going to level out a little bit in about a few hundred meters, that's when the danger of a counter-attack are going. And because there's so few domestiques left, who's going to chase that? There's only one there really, and that's the Katusha rider, unless Quintana goes on full domestique duty and rides for Valverde to close everything down.
Well, all the big climbing favourites are still there marking themselves. I haven't seen Chris Froome, unless that's him there. Doesn't look like that's Froome, that's more... Yeah, that is Chris Froome, I think. But there's Peter Sagan. Certainly the red jersey of the race leader is still with that group as they mark time there and look at each other, wondering when the move comes. Pello Bilbao is the Caja Rural rider. So it's Bilbao, not Arroyo, who's made the move. Don't think it's going to last, though, because this lot are looming 3.1 kilometres of this brutal-looking climb. It's incredibly steep. We had been warned by people that this was surprisingly steep, and it's really beginning to
That's Nicolas Roche we see as the first Sky rider, and just behind him a few places is Chris Froome. But there, I mean, this is being controlled by Katusha, Quintana and Valverde. Then it's Maika, we've got Chavez, we've got Tom Dumoulin in the white jersey, another Katusha, Daniel Moreno, Sagan. So we've got all the riders. There's Nicolas Roche and the rider, Sky rider.
Domenico Pozzovivo from AG2R is still there amongst them, and you're right, watch out for the black helmet and white jersey of Tom Dumoulin there, and look at his position relative to Esteban Chavez, because there is a battle there for the overall race lead. Dumoulin sits just 5 seconds off Chavez. I wonder if he's looking to attack, whether he's able to attack. Nairo Quintana then.
This is where the risk is of the counter-attack if anybody's feeling good, because this is the moment to go. When you see there's only leaders left, if there's only leaders left, leaders generally, they hesitate. But
now, sorry, this isn't a climb all the way to the finish. 3 kilometres to go. That's the banner that they've just passed. And they will, at 2 kilometres, they will start to descend. And some of that descent is really very steep and very fast before it kicks up again for the last 400 metres. So they're still climbing, and they'll be climbing for another 800 metres. This little right-hand turn here is cobbled as well. Not a problem in dry conditions here, but a little bit disruptive to your rhythm.
There's only about 25 riders left. It looks like Sky have 4 riders there, so they're the team with the most riders, which is a very good sign for them. The most I think other teams have is 3. Katusha have 3 riders, Movistar are down to only 2. And I think Giants have 3 riders as well. Lawson Craddock, Tom Dumoulin, maybe Degenkolb just scraping, I'm not sure, I didn't see him there.
Well, it'd be interesting to know whether TJ Van Garderen, having suffered earlier on in the stage, is able to have lived with this. Alberto Losada, I think, is the other Katusha rider there working for Joaquin Rodriguez.
This is the perfect situation now for Sagan, and the Katusha are obviously showing that Joaquin Rodriguez is going for the stage. So, because all he's got left now, Sagan, is one domestique left, and that's in 5th position, 5th wheel. So that's great for Sagan. And then Sagan moves up on the left. That's him darting up, getting in a good position, and his teammate will let him slot in the corner.
Up it goes again. It's a bit of a crazy gradient set to shuffle this run into the finish line here. 2.1 kilometres remaining. This is the last really steep bit before it goes sharply downhill from 2 kilometres onward. Would you imagine that Sagan could attack there, or will he just wait to see?
It doesn't need to. There's not one person in this group that can beat him in the sprint. I mean, literally, he could just win this one with one leg at the moment. So Sagan's only objective at the moment is to make sure there's nobody in front of him when he gets to that finish line. And he knows Katusha are controlling, because that's a perfect situation for him. So he's riding for Joaquin Rodriguez, that Katusha rider on the front. And then he knows that Quintana and Valverde, they'll be marking stuff. So Sagan, when it does start moving pretty soon, he has to move as quickly as he can.
Sammy Sanchez, the BMC rider there. Rafa Maika, he is still there for Tinkoff Saxo, the climber. That's the end of the effort, though, or very shortly will be, from Pelo Bilbao for Caja Rural. He's had a go. It's not going to be enough, though, not with this bunch of riders looming up on him. There's an attack there by Sanchez. Sanchez moves up the left, and he's obviously felt good. He's backed himself, and he's gone early. He knows now. We fully briefed at what comes up now, because he'll be going downhill sharply.
And now, so what will happen? Maika will normally have to take the front. So Rafael Maika, the teammate, here's a Sky Rider coming up. This Nicolas Roche. Nicolas Roche, I think, is coming up.
Is that Roche? Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure whether that's Roche. It's certainly a Sky Rider, though, tracking that move as Losada continues to work for Rodriguez, and Valverde alongside him. Peter Sagan now. This is a poser for him. How seriously does he have to take this, and will he try and attack on the descent?
Well, yes, he's got his teammate, 2 riders behind him. So that's Peter Sagan, the green jersey, in 4th position. He's going to let the Katusha rider use
It is indeed Nicolas Roche. Sorry, that is Nicolas Roche.
So what Sagan will do is let Katusha ride as long as they can, because he doesn't want to. And there's Maika coming up. So Maika will now come up and control it. That's the Tinkoff Saxo rider. They see that the Katusha rider is tiring. Sagan would have called him up and said, OK, now we have to start shutting it down. It's only 1.2 Ks to go. He knows that Maika can do this, because they know Sanchez and Nicolas Roche are strong. They can't play games now. Now it just has to all be shut down by Maika and the Katusha rider. So those 2 riders are domestiques. Katusha rider on the front is riding for Joaquin Rodriguez. The second rider, Rafael Maika, is riding for Sagan. They're both riding for their leaders to shut down Nicolas Roche and Sammy Sanchez.
Sammy Sanchez then dragging Nicolas Roche under the kite there. 1 kilometre remaining. 600 metres of descent before it kicks up again for 400 metres, and it's steep. They will come grinding to a shuddering halt, some of these riders on this final climb, but for now it's all downhill.
So again, this is the perfect situation, because this Katusha rider is doing all the work here. He's going to be so tired, because he's done about 2 or 3 Ks in the front. He's done most of the climb and this descent. Now, as soon as they get to the bottom, Maika, who's in 2nd position at Tinkoff, is going to have to go as hard as he can for as long as he can to set it up for Peter Sagan, who's 2 riders behind him. And Peter Sagan's in the perfect position, because he knows his domestique. Rafael Maika is going to do that, and he's got Alejandro Valverde, who's one of the strongest bike riders in the world, in front of him, so he can use him to lead him out.
Sanchez and Roche now, they are beginning to hit the uphill section then, the final 400 kilometres.
Here goes Maika.
Now, Nicolas Roche is also very handily placed in the overall, let's not forget that, and if he can win and get the 10 seconds, and he's gone. Roche has attacked Sanchez, gone past him, and is battering himself up this final ramp to see if he can win a stage and put himself in contention for the red jersey. He's looking for the win, he's looking for the time. He was incredibly aggressive on stage 2, and he's repeating it again. Nicolas Roche then, just trying to squeeze every ounce out, but it's not going to be enough, is it? Here comes Valverde, here comes Peter Sagan, here comes a Caja Rural rider too. Sagan now in 2nd wheel, he's on Valverde now, and he doesn't quite make it. Alejandro Valverde rounds the corner properly in 1st place, takes the win. What a battle that was. It wasn't quite enough for Nico Roche, the road just ran out for him. Valverde takes the win, Peter Sagan in 2nd place.
So as Gonçalves attack first, he's coming up, and Nicolas Roche almost holds him off. He's already dropped Samuel Sanchez. But you can see Peter Sagan, who had been on Valverde's wheel, didn't react as quickly. As soon as Gonçalves went, Valverde jumped on his wheel. Daniel Moreno, who was there just sitting as well, we expected to be Joaquin Rodriguez. It was actually Daniel Moreno. And there Peter Sagan's just got too much to do. He just can't quite get onto the wheel. And with the turning, the snake-like finish in these last 50 metres, none of this helped him. But you can see Peter Sagan just gives up there. He realises it's just too far.
Too far for Nico Roach as well. Danny Moreno nicked third from him by taking the inside line on the corner. Jose Gonçalves was fifth, ahead of Joaquim Rodriguez, Julian Simon, Rafael Maica, Nairo Quintana and Esteban Chavez, all on the same time, so Chavez would have kept his red jersey even if Roach had won the stage. Not that the stage wouldn't have been well worth winning anyway, of course. For the second uphill finish in a row now, Nicholas Roach has been given the green light to attack by Sky and taken advantage of it.
Today I thought I'd chance it, you know. These are the type of finish that I usually like, and I thought I might as well make the most of the fun of the first part of the vuelta on these finishes. And when I saw Samu go, I thought, oh, this is great. If I get a bit of a head start on that last kicker, but when I looked back at that 175 meter to go, and you know, I could just feel the air coming from behind, and I said, oh, that was it, and Valverde won, you know.
And for winning, Alejandro Valverde was presented with what looked like the figure of a nun, but in fact was the Cobijada, the covered woman of Vejer. You can Google it if you're interested. That's what the stage winner did with the day's finish.
Ha sido un final muy exigente, pero reconocer esta mañana por internet con el Google Maps, eso es la rehostia, y ahí hemos estado viendo un poquito, pero no conocíamos. Y ahí es cuando hemos visto que era súper exigente y que podía ser bueno para mí.
Peter Sagan, who took full possession of the green jersey with his second place, either had no internet connection in his hotel room or was using it for other things. Either way, the finish came as a nasty shock to him.
It was very hard. If I know it's a finish like this, I don't know if I'm gonna try. I was expecting maybe 300 meters climb, then a little bit flat, and then another 300 meters, but this was horrible for me. And yeah, the last part after this and the last 400 meters, I was like, here is the end. But after I saw all the climbers like open the legs, and I go. And then I went very close to Alejandro, but without legs in the finish.
TJ Van Garderen finished in the main field on the same time as the winner, just a handful of places behind Chris Froome in the end. But he had to work hard for it after coming off at this corner and having to be relayed back to the bunch by a series of pacers. So with the 10-second win bonus, Alejandro Valverde moves up 2 places to 5th overall, and Danny Moreno moves up 2 to 7th with his bonus for finishing 3rd. No change at the very top. Esteban Chavez holds on to his 5-second lead over Tom Dumoulin, with Nicholas Roach still 3rd and Dan Martin 4th. And if he spends enough time in the lead, perhaps the race organisers might eventually come up with a red jersey that isn't at least 3 sizes too big for him.
Esteban, a very difficult stage, a very difficult finish. How important was it for you to have men like Simon Gerrans close, guiding you through?
Yeah, it's true. It's really difficult final. You're down in one big route, 60, 70 kilometers per hour, and you need brake for 15. In one moment it started 10% climb. It's really difficult. You need to stay in the front. And it's true, Simon Gerrans, Daryl Impey, Matthew Heyman, Cameron Mayer, Mitch Docker put me in the front. It's really amazing, and it's really important for me. These strong guys, Michael Jones, it's good, it's really good, and it's really important for me.